is an illustration on how to achieve this dress.
This gown is a child dress, so most times they don't have under bust, right? It's just the bust to the waistline. So what I'm going to start with is marking the shoulder measurements divided by 2. Let's take it as the shoulder divided by 2. I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll connect this. After this, I'm going to find the chest line, which is the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. And I'll go ahead to draw a straight line there. So after marking that, whatever I have on the shoulder is what I will place back and mark here. So after this, I'll go ahead to divide what I have here into 2 equal parts. Come in by ½ inch. Go ahead to mark the bust circumference divided by 4. I'm going to connect this all the way to this point and to the armhole. Now, after done marking this, for a child's dress, you can go ahead to do -3 inches, right? Because they don't normally have bust, so you don't want to reveal much cleavage. So I'm going to use -3, and from here I'll just come down a little to give that slight sweetheart neckline. This is a baby's dress, so you don't have to reveal much cleavage, so, or they don't even have cleavage. So this is what you have at this point. Right now, if you look at that pattern, there's no dart, and whenever I'm making a baby's dress, I don't add that to it. So I'll mark the bust circumference divided by 4, add the sewing allowance. Now from this point, I'm going to mark the waist circumference divided by 4 and also add your sewing allowance. So after marking that, I'll just go ahead to place my ruler to draw out a straight line. So this is what we have for the upper part. You can go ahead to tighten it by ½ inch to avoid it. If you feel it's going to be loose on the child's body, you can come in by ½ inch. Now let's go ahead to cut this out. This is what we have for the front pattern. Then you go ahead to attach your sleeve to it, right? The sleeve is a flay off shoulder sleeve, or is a flay sleeve rather. So now I'll use this to cut out the back. To cut out the back, what I'll do is just to go ahead to mark out the zipper allowance. So for a zipper allowance, you can use 1.5, or if you want, you can use 2 inches. So I'm using 1.5 for mine. Let's say this is 1.5 inches. All you have to do is just place this pattern and trace it out, right? So I'll just place it. This is the waistline. I'll trace the lower part and I'll trace the sides, right? So trace this part. Now on this part we have the chest line. To avoid the upper part popping up, I'll maintain the chest line and then I'll connect it to this point. So we're almost done here. I'll go ahead to come in by ½ inch to take out the zipper bulge, and I will extend this all the way to the upper part. So after marking this now, you can replace this that you took out here by the side to avoid shortening your allowance. Now this is what we have at this point, and I'll go ahead to cut out. So next we'll be working on the lower part of this dress, which has like 2 sections of the skirt. We have the upper part, which is fitted, and the lower part, which is like a mermaid skirt that is joined together but has 2 layers of flay. So this is what you'll be having for the upper part of this dress. The skirt pattern, let's say we are using this to cut out the skirt pattern and it's on fold, right? So what you're going to do is to start your measurement, you mark your waistline. So from your waistline, you measure for a child. If it's a teenager, you can use 7 inches, 6-7 inches. But when I'm making for a smaller child, I measure about 5 inches for the hip point. Then I'll mark. Or if you're not sure, place your tape to get where the hip point is. Now, for the skirt, let's say this is the knee line, right? What I'll do now is to come up by 2 inches from the knee, right? 2 inches from the knee. Then this is the hip. So what you do is to mark your waist circumference divided by 4 and add your sewing allowance. At the hip point, you mark the hip circumference divided by 4, add your sewing allowance. Now because it's a child, you don't want it to be too fitted. You can enter -1 inch from what you have on the hip point, or 1.5, right? For a child, it's not meant to be too fitted. And I will connect. Now I won't take this to the knee. That means I'm going up by 2 inches from my knee. So from this point, you notice we have a design, right? I'll go ahead to come up slightly at this point. So this is what we have at the hip point, and I'll go ahead to cut this out. So after cutting this, you open it up, you notice that effect we have on that skirt here, right? Now let's cut the back part of this skirt. Where we have the whole drama is on the second layer of this skirt. Now I'm going to place this, and you're going to mark like your zipper allowance in front of this pattern before going ahead to cut it out. So I'll be taping this down together with my tape so that we're going to achieve the lower part of this dress. So let's say this is the zipper allowance. All you have to do is connect here, take it straight, right? So it's the front that has this design. Now what I'll now do is to go ahead to draw out the shape I have here. So we are almost done, and I'll go ahead to cut this out. Now just make a notch to indicate that this is the upper part in case it is a bit confusing. Now I'll go ahead to cut this out. Now if you're making your dress now, before going ahead to join the lower part of this dress, you're going to join the upper part. Let's say you've joined the upper part of your dress and you have also joined the upper part of the back, then you go ahead to shape it, right? After shaping it, that's when we are now going to work on the lower parts, right? So since this is an illustration, let's just say we have joined the upper part of the pattern of this dress together. Now what you do is join the lower part of your dress, because you need the round measurements you have underneath to cut out the flay on this dress. So I'm going to use tape to hold this down as if I'm making the dress. So after this, now you know this part, you also shape it out. You're going to shape it out, leaving your zipper allowance at this point. So I'll use tape to hold it down. Now after taping it, let's say you've joined the upper part. Now what you do is to go ahead to take the measurement you have round here. You just go ahead to take the measurement. Let's say what I have here is 15. Now if you look closer at the upper part of this dress, you notice that there's a slight gathers here. It's not like they use the actual measurements around it. So whatever I'm going to cut now, I'm not going to use that exact 15 inches. I can go ahead to like add extra 5 or 10 inches to it. So this is my pattern paper, and what I'll do is I'll fold it. Let me just cut out. So this is my pattern. I'll fold it into 2 and then fold it again. So what we got is 15 inches, right? Now I want to cut this on fold in form of a circle. So what I'll do now is in form of a flay, sorry. So what we got is 15 inches. So let's say I added extra inches. Because I'm cutting on a pattern paper, I'll just use 18. So I'm going to fold my pattern into 4. So 18, if I fold it into 4, what I have is 4.5. So I'll place my tape and I'll make like a semicircle which has like 4.5 inches, right? And I'll go ahead to outline. I'll go ahead to place and draw out like a semicircle. This is like the easiest way to cut out your flay without going ahead to like do a lot of calculation. I'm going to measure what I have here to here. So what I have is 3 inches. I'll take this round.
This part will be the first layer of this flay, and you need to take the measurement like 2 inches above your knee to the ground, how long you want it to be.
So now let's say the length of our flay we have is 3.3 inches. I'm going to go ahead to mark this 3.3 inches round. Now what I'll do is to go ahead to connect this. After connecting, I'll go ahead to cut out. To cut this open and cut this out. So this is what you'll be having if you open it up, right? So you'll be attaching this to your skirt. Now this is the part that is going to the front. Now for this front now, if you attach it on it, you need to have that asymmetric shape in front of it, right? You need to have that asymmetric shape, and to have that shape that is in front, it went up a bit, you have to like cut it out. So what I'll do now is to go ahead to join it, and to join it, just like I said, to give it that asymmetric shape. So this is like the middle point. What I'll do is just to like reduce it a bit. Go ahead to trim it out, giving it this shape so that it will give that high-low flay effect at the front of this dress. So I'm using a pattern paper, so I just reduced it that way. So but if you're cutting it on your pattern, you like understand what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like reduce it so that here will be a little smaller, right? You now create that asymmetric shape here that will flow from the front all the way to the back, and then you attach it. Then for the second layer of flay, you're still going to use this same method. It's just that what you will use will be fuller than this. Now when you now cut it, right, you use the same method. When you cut it, you have to like create splits or create gathers to attach to the second layer, and then the second layer will be longer than this first layer that you have here.